What is the most effective psychological trick you use? One that I picked up from a friend of mine whenever he was trying to pick out dinner with his GF, rather than ask what do you want? And getting the typical I don't know anything answer and then having suggestions shot down. Start with what do you not want? Used it a few times in some of my relationships and it's the godsend question. How to de-escalate an incredible upset mental health patient who is either unknown or prone to violence, though it works on most anyone. If they are at a level 10 you come in at a level 7. Being completely calm, reserved and polite only pisses people off more as you clearly don't understand the magnitude of the situation. If they are screaming and yelling you need to come in loud but not attacking them, agreeing with them, to a point. Whoa, what the fuck is going on? I understand why you are fucking pissed, I would be pissed too. Yeah, that is some bullshit, the situation really sucks. Look, I get it, I would be angry as shit too, but us screaming is going to get anything done no matter how angry we are. I'm with you, I'd be just as upset. No doubt this is annoying, but these are our options. By agreeing with their anger they are more open to listen to you. You then use words to describe their feelings starting out at a 10. Fucking pissed and gradually bringing those descriptive words and your tone down to a 2 annoying. Works pretty much every time, but there might be a little up and down in the middle. Just follow the person's lead while always being a level below them. Saying hello to everybody you know, and with a smile. Often people who know each other from when they were in primary school or just from the block when they were young give each other an awkward smile instead of an happy good day. Just imagine. If someone walks into you twice a year and both times you smile and greet them enthusiastically, they will think of you as a nice person. So little effort for a person to find you friendly. When you're talking to someone, they will naturally fill silence. It's subconscious. If you want them to keep talking, keep your own mouth shut. This is useful if you're ever in a verbal altercation. Think of my future self. How will my future self feel in an hour or two if I skip my gym session? Will my future self be happy if I do this pile of dishes now, before bed? Or would he prefer to have to do it in the morning, before work? I have a 3-month deadline on this project. Will my future self appreciate my current self taking the first 3 or 4 weeks easy, or will he be really pissed off? Essentially delayed gratification. Pretty much all the bad stuff gives us instant gratification, while all the good stuff has delayed gratification. I always try to remember that, if I have to wait to reap the rewards then it's probably the best option. Listening to someone without giving advice or pushing for more information typically nets me more information than being pushy for it. If you want to hear what someone has to say, just let them speak. If they stop, just wait. They will continue speaking and adding to what they were saying to fill the silence. I've done this a lot. When somebody shy is speaking, if you look at them and nod your head it encourages them to keep talking. I'm hard of hearing. I've spent a lot of my life nodding at my family to show I've heard and understood so they don't ask, did you hear that? I do it at work, especially in meetings. I get a lot of attention from the speaker as I look like the only person actively listening. I'm a professional poker player. When I am in a pot with one other player, I often try to make them laugh when they are thinking about what to do. If you can get them to laugh, it sets them in a mood where they are unlikely to bluff. I talk a lot in general. It's very common to make jokes at the table even in hands. Music. Putting headphones in and playing the music that I know I'd want to hear if I was in the mood that I want to be in shifts me over to that mentally, and really helps when I need to calm down or when I need to feel happier. When you are standing in a group and somebody tells a joke or something funny happens, people tend to look towards the person they like the most while laughing. Great, now I'm trying to remember the last time I stood in a group who was laughing and who they turned towards. I work with a bunch of idiot lawyers and I use the phrase "you're correct" all the time, even if it's one teeny tiny thing they're correct about. It makes them feel smart and they instantly soften. It also keeps them listening because they're hoping more flattery will come down the pike. Evil cackle. I speak at conferences all over the world, and a lot of the speakers use this in their Q&A. If there's a particularly hard question to answer, they always start with "what a great question," etc. etc. Generally speaking, the asker is so pleased that their question got praised by the speaker in front of all those people that they are less critical of and pay less attention to the actual answer. Thanking someone for a trait you want from them. Instead of telling a customer you're sorry for their wait, tell them thank you for your patience or understanding. Works wonders. My youngest, 4, got into the Y-phase a little while back. Read an article that said the best way to get them to stop was to ask them "I'm not sure, what do you think?" It is a godsend. They answer their own question, you provide some feedback, "sounds good to me," and they immediately move on. Effing awesome. When I ask someone a question and their first response is "what?" I just stare at them for a few seconds, and 99% of the time they answer my question without me having to repeat myself. I think it's just a subconscious reflex people have to ask "what?" instead of answering what you've asked even when they've heard you clearly. I think that for a second you don't understand something or the whole phrase, so you ask "what?" but then your brain processes it and you instantly understand what was said, so you reply. It happens all the time. Instead of arguing, I start off by agreeing and then state my point of view after addressing the other person's point. Always ends in a positive interaction. Edit, the idea is to show respect for what the other person thinks. Assuming that the person isn't a complete moron, they more than likely have a valid point. Rather than shutting the person down and telling them they're wrong, you listen to them. Then after hearing them out, you can bring up your own point of view. The goal is to have a respectful exchange of opinions rather than a flat-out argument where two people flat-out don't agree with each other and leave each other without learning anything from one another. When you need to find out a name, e.g. for a lead, you say, "Oh, is John still managing up there?" They go, "No, it's Mark now." Works with anything, just use a fake. Is that your focus outside? What? No, mine's the Ferrari. Smiling. Smile at the bartender, they'll be more likely to come to you quicker. Smile at your colleague in the morning and they'll be more open to the request that you've got for them later. Smile at your kids and they'll feel loved. Smile at your partner and they'll wonder what they've done that's made you so happy. Smile at me and I'll smile back and we'll both feel great for a few minutes. Smile at everyone when you meet them. Smile in a job interview, smile at the shop worker, the binman, the postman, the random dog walker in the park, the person who nearly bumped into you on the street, the barista, your teacher, your mum and your dad. Smile at yourself in the mirror and give yourself a cheeky wink. Writing smile is making me smile. And I feel great now, so I'm gonna go and get a sandwich. Thanks for reading. Whenever I know somebody is holding some truth from me, I'll look at them and stay silent, no nodding, no acknowledging, just looking. The silence usually brings out the truth or extra detail. If they squirm around a bit, you know there's something they have exaggerated, etc. People in business and especially reporters call this aggressive listening. Be direct and personal when you need things. Instead of asking if anyone has an EpiPen, ask WHO has an EpiPen. Instead of saying someone call 911, point to someone, say you in the blue jacket, what's your name? Tom. Okay Tom, go call 911 and come tell me when they are in the way. I did a first aid course recently and that's actually something they teach you. You can't leave a task up to a crowd, you have to single someone out for shit to get done. Don't say it's okay when someone apologizes. Say something like, "Thank you for apologizing." If someone needs to apologize to you, then it was something that isn't okay. My mom teaches this to her kindergartners and it really does make a difference. Opens doors for growth and conversation too. Thank you for apologizing. I don't like it when you hit me. Or whatever. I currently manage around 240 people between 6 restaurants. It is often hard to get them to do what is needed. I have found saying "I need your help" is sufficient to get them on board. People want to feel needed and like they are making a difference. Expressing to them as much makes all the difference in the world. I pretend to be really bad at lying, so when I do have to lie it is super effective. I do the opposite, I'm stupidly honest even over small, slightly hurtful stuff. Yeah, your butt kinda looks big in that, so when I do need to lie nobody even blinks. If I'm having a conversation that's a bit difficult, or I don't have a lot to say, then I'll repeat the last word or phrase that the other person said, with a slight tilt of my head, as if I'm rephrasing it as a question. Virtually all the time, they'll expand or elaborate on what they said previously, and then move on to something else too. I can keep the whole conversation going just by doing this, but a lot of the time it'll also help the other person to open up and they'll feel like they've been able to have their say. Sometimes it's useful when you don't give a shit and can't be bothered with the conversation, but don't want to be rude. However, it's also very useful when you do want to hear from someone, and genuinely want them to share something. So it can be used for both good and evil. I work in an office. When people stop by my desk and refuse to leave me alone, I will get up and refill my water bottle while they are talking to me. Instead of walking back to my desk, I walk them to theirs. They instinctively will sit down. Then I just sever the convo and get back to work. Have a toxic person you need to try and get through to without calling them out directly and risk bearing the brunt of their meltdown? Tell a story about how some annoying idiot behaves in a certain manner, citing the toxic person's behavior here, and how frustrating, pathetic, lame etc. it is. The toxic person's ego will take over and they will tone down that behavior. Works like a charm. Also, it's safe, because they're narcissists and couldn't fathom that their behavior is frustrating, so they won't make the link and figure out what you're doing. I psychologically trick myself into thinking my problems aren't that severe by simply avoiding them. It's been working for years.